echoing really
No,
badly.
hold them closer to
What?
your face, I think.
What?
I don't get a good focus, unfortunately.
Yeah.
These pieces were finished November the 4th, so just about two months ago. And they're holding up very nicely
They
so
are.
far. John, here's my most recent piece.
That also is a nice piece.
Wormy spalted zebra sapwood.
Wow.
Wow.
And then this is a piece, and I have no idea exactly what it is.
Get it.
We're trying to
further
find
back.
out.
Hold it further back from the camera, closer to your ear. Yeah, now it comes close. The camera can't focus in two places at once. Now we're getting a better picture, not a great one, but a better one.
And, you know, the other side of it had, you know, you can see there was a little bit of spalting and a little bit of worminess, but not much. And one of our new members at the club here had not done much woodwork, but he was, you know, majored in wood into his master's degree. And he has all these different ways of finding out exactly what this wood is. So I'm waiting to find out myself.
There's Alan Miller. Good morning, Alan. Hello, David Sloan.
Hey, guys. Hi, John.
Hi, Dave Blyle.
John, this is for you.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Let me spotlight that, Judy. Hang on a second. There you go.
Amen.
That's very good. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Lancaster Area Woodturners Coffee Hour number 39, if you can believe it.
Wow.
My name's John Kelsey. I'll be your host and assisted by my good friend Doug Reeser, who's also on this morning. And a happy new year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Here to you too.
I want to appreciate you all for sticking with this experiment for 39 weeks. We started doing this back last April. Many of you have been with us every week. I had no idea it was going to carry on. We thought this was going to be just a way of learning Zoom and sharing that with our friends. But it turned out to be something that was fun to do every week, and here we are.
Look forward to it.
I do too. And on that note, I am recording. Doug, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. This week we have, Kai has some stuff on color and texture that he'd like to show. We do have a 25-minute video we can show if there's nothing to talk about, but I thought we would go around the screen and ask people what they got for Christmas for wood turning from their friends and family, or what they got themselves for Christmas for wood turning, or what you're working on now. And just to start, I will show you what I got for Christmas. I'm going to again spotlight the video. I'm going to do a lot of this spotlighting and removing spotlighting and all that stuff. Let's see, that removed it. That should bring it back, right? You got me?
Your spotlight. Still your face, John.
That's what I'm looking for. This is what I got for myself for Christmas. This is, oh boy,
Yeah.
crazy shit. This is two lavalier microphones, lapel mics with a little Dewey that plugs into my phone. So now when we make the videos, we have two lapel microphones that record very well along with the video. And we will now have good sound on our coffee hour videos that we make in people's workshops, which we have not had up to now.
Cool.
So that was my Christmas present to myself.
John, what brand did you get?
Movo, M-O-V-O.
Thanks.
And it works extraordinarily well. It's finicky to set up. You have to make sure everything has to be right. But when it is right, it works very well, and it handles the two mics very well. It mixes them correctly. So I can wear it. We did, Doug and I have done 2 shoots using this for next Tuesday's Lancaster meeting. Each of us wearing a microphone, and once we had it set up, it really did work.
John, is it a wire connection or is it Bluetooth?
It's neither one. It's 2.4 megahertz. It has its own, I guess it's its own little Bluetooth. What you have is a little unit that has 2 batteries in it that you can drop in your shirt pocket. The microphone clips on. And then there's a little little wee unit that plugs into the iPhone that's doing the recording, and it records the sound right in there. This is the, can't even get it out of here.
That would also work with any of your cameras too, wouldn't it, John?
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
But I always have, my iPhone is always one of the cameras. So when I'm making a video, it works, it plugs in perfect. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, this is the little unit, the little Movo unit. It plugs into my phone and it receives both microphones and feeds them into whatever the phone is doing for video. I have not tried it. Yes, I have tried it on a live Zoom. It works on a live Zoom as well. I'm just not using it today.
Where did you get it?
I bought it online from Amazon.
Okay. What price?
200.
Okay.
After shopping a lot, these are the kinds of things that I have already spent $50 on crappy microphones that didn't work very well. I would have been better off just to go here right in the first place. Okay, let me see. Who'd like to show us, who'd like to go next?
Well, I want to say that I'm not Susan Ellis.
Where's Susan Ellis? Oh, yes. Who are you?
I'm Dick Boak.
You were Dick Boak.
And
We're
that's
glad to have you.
That's my wife's name.
Well,
Hey,
I'm
Dick.
going to fix that. Dick Boak is the current former of the Wizard of Martin Guitar up in Nazareth, PA. And I understand you've now taken up wood turning. Is that right?
Well, I've always loved wood turning, and so I, my only problem is that I've been turning over at David Sloan's house because my wife doesn't like all the sawdust, and David has a much better lathe than I do. But I do have something that is possibly of interest to all of you. Maybe you're way ahead of me here, but I've always liked to put a brand on the bottom of my pieces, and I did a little searching, and I found this. This is a Weller branding iron with a customized head. This came from brandingirons.com. Is anybody aware of this?
Yes.
You are?
That's,
You all have something like this?
No, I don't.
yes.
So it does a really nice job. I did a tiny little ink drawing. Actually, the ink drawing was about 4 times larger than this.
Hold it up near closer to your ear, to your side of your
You got it
face.
right
There you
there,
go.
right there.
Perfect, perfect.
You see
Perfect.
that?
Yeah.
That's actual size. It's about a ½ an inch wide, but the actual drawing was maybe 4 times that size. And
What did it cost you to get the branding head made to custom?
I think it was like $79, something like that, with the iron,
The whole unit.
the whole unit. And there's lots of options. You can get a drill press arrangement if you want. You can get a little rheostat controller that controls the temperature so that you can get it exactly right every time. The first time I heated this up, it gets pretty hot and it burns pretty quickly, and it's a little difficult. You can see here, you've got to get it just right, like this. If you get it a little off, you get a bad brand. That's why a little drill press arrangement might be nice. And the rheostat is nice because you can get the temperature just right.
Dick, how long do you have to hold the thing against the wood to get that ideal?
Well, just like a second.
Trial and error.
It's 1 second, but if you have the controller, you could limit the temperature and get it to just to where you want it, and leave it that way so that every time you turn it on, it give you the exact same result.
Setting it in and out of a drill press is a time-consuming setup, and yes, you have a drill press to devote to it. A cheap solution is to go to Harbor Freight and get an arbor press and just put it in an arbor press.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could figure out a really simple way to do this. But for now, my friend Mike Mode, you're all familiar with Mike Mode?
I know him, yeah.
A great wood turner, and he this goes back 40 years or so, but he took a bolt and a hacksaw and cut out just four little blocks, and then files and drills, and made his own little brand that he uses on the bottom of his pieces, and it came out very nice. And but this is really a great way to do it.
Now that we have you on screen still, do you have a piece of your turning in front of you there that you could hold up?
Well, if you give me a moment, I will.
You did send me a picture, but it's gone in the mists of time. I'm going to go back to gallery view here for a second.
John, I'll go get a piece too, since I've been silent most of the time.
Okay.
John,
Anybody else?
while we're on the those branding iron type things, my son got me one, and he did a great job. It's like a log in the middle with my name because it's Bob. You know, always the log.
Hold it back closer to your face. Don't hold it so far forward. Yeah, that's better.
All right. So it's really nice. And like he says, somebody said you had to experiment with it, you know, and you have to be very sure that the wood is flat. You know, when you put it on there, you're going to get variations when it comes out. My question is, this part here, though, burned out on me. I blew a fuse once, reset the fuse, and at any rate, this part's not working anymore. Are these expensive to replace, or would it be better, like that one gentleman said, to get that press? I'm not sure what the costs are. My son, you know, sent away for it, so I need to do some research on this.
It looks to me like you've just basically got it attached to a soldering iron.
Oh, yeah, well, the whole thing just screws right off the top.
Yeah.
And, I do have another one that's like a pen with several different heads where you can write with it. I've used those in the past. Is it possible? Are these all different wattages? Do I have to be concerned with that, or is that more research I have to do?
I think on brandingirons.com, I saw that they had some interchangeability that you could do what you're saying there. You could just screw it on.
Mhm.
And I'm checking mine. Yeah, it looks like you could just get a new Weller. You could get a new Weller branding iron. I just took mine off, and it looks.
No, hold it up. Hold it up higher.
identical.
We're not seeing it. Hold it up a little. Yeah, hold it up closer to your face.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Oh, now there's a thread on the branding iron and a socket on the image, right?
That's exactly right, and it simply screws on. So I think you could
Which way around
replace your branding iron.
Bob Mathers?
Yeah.
Which way around is yours? Is yours?
Mine, the one that I have that's just like a pen is the opposite. Okay, the male, female. So I'm going to have to look around for a replacement to this one, which has the male end on, you know, where the electrical part is, and then the female on this one here. So yeah, I've got some homework to do. I can't use, mine's not interchangeable, so I will have to go. And you said that was brandingirons.com?
Branding iron, singular, brandingiron.com.
All right, well, thank you.
No, branding iron.
Something else you might do is, since by their nature, these branding irons only get heated up for the immediate application and don't have to have sustained heat, just screw that head onto the end of the appropriate threaded bolt or whatever, and heat it with the propane torch, and then just, I will say, overheat it and stamp on scrap wood until you're down to the right temperature, and then apply it to your job.
Yeah.
There is no weight to heat it up, and there's no need to buy the replacement iron. You're not going to be using it unless you have 100 pieces to stamp or something, you know.
Now, you guys who use a branding iron, do you also write the wood species and the date or anything like that on the workpiece?
It depends on who you're giving it to and what it's for. You might put additional information on there.
How do you do that?
Again, I would use that other one that I have, the other branding, whatever the tool is called, and just write that, you know, someplace else on the bottom of the item.
How about others? What do other guys do?
I just
I
write
use
it
my
on
pen.
the pen.
Or burner kit.
You mean use a burning pen or do you use a Sharpie?
I just use like
Sharpie.
a
Sharpie for me.
Yeah.
When you use the Sharpie, do you put any coating over top of that so it
Yes.
stays?
Yes.
With my Sharpie, as quickly as I've put it in there, then I take some oil and, you know, some teak oil or Danish oil and just slop it on, and it doesn't run, doesn't do anything except look pretty.
And then it keeps.
What?
The
One
biggest,
word-
the biggest
one word-
problem with the Sharpie is that the Sharpie on walnut or some dark woods disappears after with age. So you have to have, I try to use that for light woods, but on
Yeah.
darker woods, I try to burn it if I can with a nib on my wood burner.
I actually got some silver Sharpies for dark wood.
Sharpies will disappear in time no matter what you do. They're permanent, which means they'll survive so many washings. They have nothing to do with light fastness. If you want a truly archival pen, you have to go to a Sakura, which uses archival ink, and you can get them at any art store. They're just like a Sharpie, but they have a better ink in them.
What's the name?
Sakura.
On here, I have one from Rockler that I got. Can you see that?
Yes, we got you.
Yeah.
Here's the Sakura pen.
Mine just has an on and off switch. And then what I did, I made some bat houses and I put it on the top here.
Very good.
Bob, could you show your heating element, the broken one, again? It looks like there is a little bit of threaded rod in the end of the heating element that has got the thread on it that takes your brand. So if you undo the two screws on the left and on the right hand side of your heating element, maybe you can take this bit of threaded rod out and put it into another soldering iron type heating element. So
Yeah. I
maybe
did
you
take
can
it
check
apart,
that.
but yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was just the idea, because I do soldering in electronics, and if you want to exchange the tip, it's often the same principle. You can just unscrew it and then take out the tip and put another tip in. So maybe you can take the threaded rod out of the heating element as well, if that is constructed in the same way. I don't know. Have you tried that to take that end bit out?
Yes, I did. I took the screws out and took this top off, and I looked at the insides to see, maybe a wire was loose or something like that, and it doesn't seem to be the case. I can try it again. I don't just have to do some more work on it. That's all.
Yeah, or maybe get a threaded bolt that fits into your brand, and then the other end should be round, and you can put it into a heating element from another soldering iron type thing, and then just tighten the screw again. And if it gets hot enough, if the wattage is all right, it should work again. Maybe that's something to try.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, thank you.
There's a place called Replacement Parts. And they seem to have all kind of parts for different things. Maybe you might want to try them. Their phone number is 1-833-337-7215. Replacement Parts.
Okay. Thank you.
I found I did a bat house out of T111. And when I did my stamping, the material, I first used a plain piece of wood and stamped it, but this doesn't have a smooth edge. So it came out kind of strange, but you still can read it. Yeah, it was good enough for what I did.
The birds can read it okay?
Yeah. My wood burner has only an on and off switch. It doesn't have a temperature control. So I had to leave it heat up for a while and then stamp it. So it was really trial and error for me.
What other methods do you guys use to get to sign pieces? I'll tell you what I do. I use a pyrography pen. I put my initials and the date, and I don't put what the wood is. I don't really want them to, I don't really care.
I had to make up some discs on a laser machine for myself, and then I just use a 1-inch Forstner bit, drill it in the bottom, set that in there, and then I can just put the date on it.
Who is that?
Yeah, Ernie was going to tell us the name of that pen again, and also he was going to show it to us. I'd like to write down the spelling of that pen.
Ernie, you got it?
Yeah, it's up at the screen now.
Okay, I'm going to spotlight you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little closer to your face.
Nice work, Ernie. Nice
Closer
work.
to your face, Ernie, because you're out of focus. That's better. Yeah.
Can you spell the name of it, Ernie?
Sure. It's M-I-C-R-O-N, micron, and they come in any width from about 0.8 millimeters down to 0.005 millimeters. And it's archival ink, and they're made by Sakura.
Pardon me.
You can get them at Michael's or AC Moore or any one of those places. And
Yeah.
if you go into the art section of the store, not in the pens and everything else, you have to go into the art section specifically. And the pen size that Ernie said, the smallest one, I actually use them to sign off on Christmas tree ornaments because it's so fine. You can get down extremely, really very small.
You can write in like 4-point type with those things. I use them for pen and ink drawings, but we used to use what are called rapidographs, which put the ink in, and they clogged up all the time. These are just wonderful.
So
it turns out that that's what I have been using, and I just want to mention something about going to Michael's or something like that. Make sure when you go to Michael's or any of those stores, bring up their website so you can get the 40% discount.
Yeah, and beware of a store that doesn't have much inventory turn because they do go bad sitting on the shelf. I've probably thrown more of my own out for age than I have for running out of ink.
Well, let me ask you a question now. Do you sign directly on the wood, or do you put a layer of finish down first? And after you sign, what do you put on it? Whatever finish you're using, or something special? What do you do?
I sign right on the wood, and then I'll let it dry for a little bit just to make sure there's no blurring. And I have had some experiences where the finish has blurred it. And then I'll just put whatever finish I'm using, which is usually oil, or sometimes I've been using the general finish as a salad bowl finish.
Okay.
Likewise.
I always rub the wood with a little bit of white shellac that I make myself, just the rubbing in that area, usually the base of a bowl. Then I write the thing, whatever I'm going to put on there, and I'm going to put oil over that.
Okay.
I would say the same. I also do it on the wood if I can, but sometimes when you get on oak or some of the ones that are really sort of bumpy, it's hard to get a good signature on it. So sometimes I do the varnish first, but I always, regardless if I put a coat of varnish on it, even if I put a coat of varnish and then put the signature on it, I let it dry out and then put another coat of varnish over top of the signature.
Do you put varnish even if you're using some other finish, or do you use
No, if I'm just
whatever finish you're using?
Whatever finish I'm using, I just put another coat over top of the signature if necessary.
Okay. Anybody else on this?
One of the things that I've heard of, not with wood turnings, but with artwork, one painter actually signs his paintings with his thumbprint.
How does he do that?
On the back of the painting. He puts his thumb in the paint and puts it on the back of the painting.
So how could we do that on a wood turning?
We do it on the bottom, but the reason he does it is to keep imitations and forgeries from occurring.
I'd
like to say that wasn't possible, but I've seen people forge thumbprints before. So it's like, if you really want to get into forgery, you're going to get into forgery. I think, yeah.
So
Anyway.
what else did you guys get for Christmas?
I got myself a large scraper. And as the guys will see in the it's a really thick and long one, which is one I wanted for the end. And it only took me 30 minutes before I had a serious catch with it. So, you know, I need to practice it a little bit more. And then the other thing.
Where from and how much, Doug?
John and I went out. Actually, I bought it myself. It wasn't that expensive. We went out. What was the place out in Conestoga Wood?
Blue Ball
or something. Pardon?
Blue Ball.
That's right. And they had this on the shelf, and it was like $50 or $60. I think it's Chinese made, so it's not necessarily the greatest steel. But when you get down to this size and thickness, it's still high-speed steel.
Yeah.
And it's 50 or 60. It wasn't that expensive, which is one of the reasons I bought it.
And I have a special surprise for you too. In next Tuesday's meeting, we actually caught the catch on video, and you can see the piece of wood fly right out of there.
Yeah, a good safety issue for me. So, but yeah, it catches very nicely. I mean, it really does a good job of doing a serious catch.
Doug, is that the original grind on it, or did you relieve that yourself?
No, well, actually, I did. It's the original grind, but I started relieving it around the corner there, so that I can actually start. I actually want to work it down to the side, so I've got a side on there, like more of a half moon going down, so I can do it on the side. Because that's one of the other things about these scrapers is that you never use this. When I'm turning anyway, I never use this outside corner because it's all the way over here, or rarely do it, but I'm often using it on the inside of a bowl. So having this side, which is with the inside of the bowl, curved back a little bit. So I've seen John's big one, and I like that shape. So it'll take me a while, but I'll get it done, and it's no big deal. The other thing is, the reason I got it is because of the overhang. I tend to get down to bowls sometimes that are 5 or 6, 7 inches deep. And that overhang just allows me a little bit less chatter on the end. That's what the idea was getting for.
Is that when you got the catch, when it was greatly extended over the rest?
You'll see.
What happened, well, I'll show it to you, but what happened is inside of a vessel, and it was down like this, and the catch went this way on the edge of the vessel. So, yeah. As John captured the vessel, and what we'll do, what I was planning on doing is turning it into a 3 or 4 minute video on catches, so we could show it up at the Thursday's coffee hour to show what happens when you're not thinking straight. Well,
I'm looking forward to that video. Mine catch too often.
Yeah. Well,
when you're using a scraper, you got to learn it's really light touch.
And that's the biggest problem, Ron, with this scraper. It's a big scraper, so you got to be you think about it being heavy, so you know, it's like other tools. Well, this is a strong tool. That's not the point.
No.
The point is that the tool is strong. And the other problem with it, I think, to your point, Ron, is with a scraper this big, it is more difficult. When you've got a lighter tool and a smaller tool, it is easier to make a light touch, as you said.
I'm not so sure I agree with that.
Well, I just
don't buy a heavy scraper so you can make a big cut.
Pardon?
That's what I'm saying. Make a light cut.
I didn't buy it to make a heavy cut. What I was trying to say was that it's easier to make a light cut with a light tool, and I'm aware of more because I can feel it right away. And so far, I haven't got the feel of this scraper when I'm going in very lightly at the end.
Yeah.
So
you were talking about grinding the side of that. I have a round nose scraper that I did not grind the side on it, just the nose. But then I have what they call, I don't know what they call it, a bowl scraper or side scraper. But at any rate, it is ground back pretty far, probably 3/4 of an inch or an inch back the side. And I purposely do that because when I come across the bottom and then start up the side, I go along the side of the scraper. It really does help.
Well, I figured that for the price of special grind, I could probably put the special grind on my round nose. And this is about 1.5 inches. This is about 1.25 inches wide. So I got lots of space on the side of the tool to make that a nice side scraper.
Yeah.
The other thing I got was
well, this is a good one. Let me get you spotlighted again, Doug. Okay.
I got this off I think it was off one of the websites. Anyway, it's a protractor, but the point of the matter is this one is a digital one. So if I turn it on, I don't know if I can show this.
You have it closer to your face because the folk there, we can see it. Yeah. That's
but
good.
You can see actually it goes in an angle in digital. It goes right around to 360 degrees. And I know it's upside down the way I've got it, but the point of the matter is that I've been using this, and it's really very handy for checking tool angles and piece angles and stuff like that, because you can get down to the 1/10 of a degree. I like it way better than a regular protractor because, you know, my protractors go to, if I'm lucky, I can see to 5 degrees on it. So anyway, this is a little bit more accurate. I don't know if I need to be that accurate on my tools, but it makes me, for my segmented turning and stuff like that, when you're doing that, sometimes getting the angle, you have to be accurate on that angle. So for segmented turning, I'm looking forward to using it for that, to get the setups correct on the tools.
What did it cost you, Doug?
I don't know. My wife bought it for me, but it's like 25 or 30 bucks on the, it was on,
what brand is it?
It was either Woodcraft or Kingsport.
What is the brand on that?
Wixley.
It's Wixey,
EY.
WIXEY.
They're available in any of the woodworking shops.
Yeah.
Rockler, a lot of them. I have a digital caliper. I like it, but on the other hand, the battery's dead whenever I need it, so that's frustrating. I prefer to have a good dial caliper. What I have is a plastic one that's reasonably accurate. I use it more than I do the digital because it's available. The battery doesn't die.
Iran, they do make a solar powered caliper. It's made by.
I'm not going to lay my caliper out in the yard to get charged.
No. It'll work on the normal lighting.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The only problem is it's hideously expensive.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What did you get for Christmas or for yourself? Or here comes Barry. I'm going to spotlight him. What do you got, Barry?
I've been fascinated ever since watching that Ed Pretty demo on colored surface treatments, and so I went ahead and bought this. I shopped around, and it's an airbrush, and you can spend anywhere upwards of $200 on these things. But this company, Master, sells. I can't find any shortcomings. All I've sprayed so far is water and lacquer thinner, just to look at the mist pattern on it. And it works really well. And it was, I think, about $37. And then I bought a little inline water separator for $8. I've only been able to use it with the tape together connection with my air hose because I failed to buy the 1/8 inch thread adapter, which I have since purchased, but it hasn't arrived yet. Yeah. But it runs off my shop air compressor at about 15 PSI.
Barry, how hard is that going to be to clean?
How what?
How will you clean that?
Just run thinner through it.
I plan on running whatever the medium is.
So if it's lacquer, you just run some lacquer thinner through it.
I run straight lacquer thinner through it or alcohol through it. Alcohol will also clean water things out, water-based dyes. And then I also bought, it's this J.E. Moser. I think it's really a wholly owned subsidiary of Woodworkers Supply. It comes in, normally it's got about 200 shades of wood grade or wood stain or wood dye. And this is lemon yellow, and they have a couple shades of blue, a couple shades of black, red, green, you know, every color of the rainbow pretty much. And it's about $9 for a bottle. It's a powder. This is water soluble. They make their entire line in water soluble, oil soluble, and alcohol soluble. But I found that if you take the water soluble and mix a highly concentrated liquid of it, you can then add it to alcohol, and it completely disperses. And then you can spray on alcohol dye.
Huh.
So I got a colorful Christmas here.
Very nice. Who else?
So I got a complete dust collector system.
Who's that?
Mike Lebo.
Okay, I'm going to come back just a second. I've lost my computer is starting to object to me. Hang here just a second. I've got some crazy stuff going on here. Okay, now I'm back. Where's Mike Lebo? There. I'm going to spotlight you if I can find you. There he is. What did you get, Mike?
I got the Harbor Freight dust collector, and then I got the wind filter that fit on the top, and the Super Duty dust collector from Oneida. I don't have any pictures of it right now, but I'll get you some.
Is it quiet?
Well, I have it in a separate room from my shop, and it's fairly quiet, yes.
And what did you spend on that one?
Well, between the filter and the thing and all the piping, I probably have about $800 in it.
Okay. I would look very much like to see a picture of that. So when you get that together, do bring it on.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, I'm back to gallery view. Who else? Who's waving their hand here? I saw Randy. Randy, I'm going to go to Randy. Spotlight for everybody. What do you got?
One of the things I bought myself for Christmas is this laser pecker.
Put it closer to your face. Closer to your face. Yeah, back. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Now we see it.
It's a laser engraver. And you can see this is where the laser comes out, and this is where you plug a USB cable into it. But it engraves very nicely. I've made a couple of pens for friends that I engraved their names on it with this, and works really well. A little difficult to use at first. There is a learning curve. I'm going to see if I can hold this up to my camera.
Get it closer to your face. Yeah.
It's not big enough.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is the camera tries to focus on you or else on it. The camera has to choose where to focus.
Oh, yes, I know.
Okay, now you're blocked out all the light. A little bit further back. Closer. There you go.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, it's backward, but
upside down. Rotate and you'll be good. Got it.
Okay.
Nice.
And so I did that twice. I could do that on the bottom of an item pretty easily. This is just a test sample I did.
How long does it take to burn that?
I used 3 passes, and it takes about 2 minutes, maybe 3.
And you had to set the artwork up on your computer, is that right?
Yes.
And did they give you software for that?
No, they do not.
So how did you do that?
What I did for that is I used a software image file called GIMP, G-I-M-P. It's a GNU freeware, and it's.
I use that too, Randy. It's very good.
Yeah, it's very sophisticated. It's easily the equal of something like Photoshop, but it is not user friendly. You must get familiar with it.
And what was the price on the laser pecker?
The one I bought includes a cover that goes over it. They give you a pair of glasses to keep the laser light out of your eyes. Those are $2.99, and the one that I bought is $3.99. It comes with a shroud that goes over the thing.
Okay.
But
But you can like write your name on the barrel of a pen with that. Is that right?
oh yes, in fact, that's why I bought it.
Yeah.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can if you know how.
Nope, it's disabled.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are in, I should say, by way of housekeeping, we are now for the first time using the Lancaster area Woodturners Zoom account, and I have not fully set it up. I use my own, we had been using my own thing. Okay, all participants can share now. You can share now.
Okay.
We had been using my own Zoom account for this whole last year, and now we're using the club Zoom account, and I've got some dicking around to do to get it set up correctly. You all see that Randy's share?
Yep.
Yes.
There you go.
Ooh,
No, I just see you, John.
I see it.
I see it.
Nice.
That is nice.
That was one I did for a friend of mine for Christmas.
And his name was Henry, was it?
No. I was tempted to do that, put George on it, but no, I didn't.
Now,
Randy, have you tried this on it? It appears to do a really good job on the curved surface there, and I'm wondering what the impingement angle limit would be. You know, if you did it on something that was, say, taller than your letters, and it sort of starts to wrap down on the curvature where the laser light is striking the wood, like at 30 degrees or 40 degrees or something.
My horseback guess would be about a third of the diameter.
Okay.
With the way this thing works is you set up the width of the pen. Let me stop my share here.
Oh, I was.
You set up the width of the pen. You set up the width of the image that you want, and it will draw an outline of where the image is going to be.
Yeah.
You can do two different kinds of previews. You can do a center point preview, which is great if you're doing a bowl, as long as you have a center point on the bowl on the bottom. The second preview is an outline preview, which it'll outline where the image is going to be.
So that's for setup. You can just see the light shine.
Yes, yes. That's just the light shows you where it's going to draw the image.
And Randy, this is only for wood, is that right? I mean, you couldn't etch metal with it.
They tell you cannot etch metal. I haven't tried acrylic. They say it doesn't. They can't etch anything that's reflective or transparent. Okay.
Yeah.
To do that, you need this is a visible light laser. You can actually see it when it's burning. An ultraviolet laser, you can't see when it's burning.
So if you're doing something, if you're doing some clear object, just as an example, and you put a piece of paper over the top of the object, the laser would burn through the paper and onto the clear acrylic underneath, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, but they tell you also that it won't burn white paper, white,
Okay.
white,
Okay.
because it reflects too much of the energy off the object.
Okay.
It has to be something that will absorb the light. And I did 3 passes on that pen.
Cool.
So,
Does it have Mac software to control it, or is it just PC?
no, it is only usable with a smart device, like an iPad, Android. They do not support either Windows or Macs.
So it's only mobile device operating systems. Okay.
Now they tell you that it hooks up to this via Bluetooth. I don't know if that would work with a Windows. There's an app that you download. When you get the manual, you get a quick response code that you take a picture of, and it downloads it onto your cell phone. I put it on my iPad. I found out it works better with Android, because if you want to copy a file to your iPad, You have to go through iTunes. Apple.
Well,
Fun City.
if you've already got an iMac or something like that, we've got, I mean, our iMac has a Bluetooth setup. So if I got it on my main iMac through a Bluetooth setup, it would connect through Bluetooth is what you're saying.
Yes.
So anything that's got a Bluetooth connection, you'll be able to connect to it. And then downloading the software, again, with Macs, all you have to do is have it'll get you into the App Store just like anything else. So you should be able to download the software from any app store.
Yes. I found out because you can just hook my cell phone, my Android phone right up with a Bluetooth cable to my computer. That makes it easy. I copy it right on there, and then I can burn it onto the piece that I'm making. But I found out that it's a little bit more involved with the Apple, with the iPads and that sort of thing, the iPhones. That's just me.
Who's next? Who got something else for themselves for Christmas? Raise your hand so I can see you and I'll spotlight you. I see Angelo down here. Spotlight for everybody. You got to unmute yourself, Angelo.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
What I got for myself was a Thompson bottom gouge. It's 3/4 inch diameter. And I got it hopefully to put it into a Thompson handle the way that Emiliano Archival puts his gouges into a Thompson handle with a Jimmy Clues quick release.
Hold that back closer to you. You're too far forward. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So here's the Jimmy Clues quick release.
Why do you want to use that instead of just making a wooden handle?
Well, this is a 20-inch handle. So if you've got the tool on the handle, you've got a tool to swing on the grinder that's, I don't know, 30 inches long, 36 inches long. So the purpose of the quick release is to take it out of the handle, put it in your jig or on your grinder and sharpen it, and then put it back in the handle.
So why did you get that particular gouge with the, what was special about that? Because you've obviously got a lot of gouges there in your shop, Angelo.
I do.
So what's different about this one?
Well, what I wanted was the 3/4 inch glazer bottom gouge, but they were out of stock. So the first one I could get my hands on was this one, which is Mike Mahoney's, what he calls a bottom feeder. I don't know, can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty steep grind on the end, but it's a 5/8 tool.
Don't hold it so far in front of you. Hold it closer to your nose, and then
you still want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier in the fall, I had received a bunch of big logs that I had cut up and offered to members if they were willing to come and pick it up. And I kept a few aside for myself. Now they're they'll produce roughly 20-inch diameter bowls. And I've always been interested in the Hawaiian tradition of bowls with this umeki alau. And they're wide and they're deep. And the tools that I had on hand just weren't big enough or strong enough to take the chatter out of the cuts for the size of the bowl that I was turning. So I bit the bullet and I bought this Mahoney gouge. It's only 5/8 and it still wasn't big enough. I mean, I use it, but it's still a little light for the task. On this Thompson gouge now is 20 inches. It comes with about 3 pounds of weight in it with the tool. When I assembled this Jimmy Clues quick release on it, I added lead shot into the hollow, and that brought it up to about 4 pounds. So it's a pretty heavy tool to use. I don't particularly care to use it that heavy, but it helps with the vibration and the dampening of the tool when it's way over the rest. The Jimmy Clues quick release doesn't fit exactly into the Thompson handle. I had to turn a real fine bushing with a lip that would take this ring here. So inside here is a little bushing made out of ebony. It's all epoxy together. And you can see that it pretty much goes together pretty quickly. It's a cheaper alternative than buying a Stuart Batty type quick release.
So you're using that for the inside bottom of large deep bowls, is that right?
Yep. Inside bottom of a large deep bowl.
So can you show the gouge you bought again? The second gouge?
Which one, the Thompson or the?
Yes, the Thompson.
Well, here they are both together.
So the Thompson one is the one I'm curious about. It's got a really wide lip on the channel, doesn't it? It's not like most gouges are pointed up towards the top of the channel, whereas that looks like it's flat cut on the top.
Yep, they're both pretty flat. The bevel is pretty flat. It's about a 65-degree angle.
Okay.
The mahogany has a relief cut. In other words, it's ground the heel off.
Yes.
The mahogany in section is actually a bowl gouge.
Okay.
And the Thompson looks more like a spindle roughing gouge. In other words, the wall of the steel is the same all the way around.
Yeah.
So
is there an advantage to that Thompson with the wall of the steel not being changed down?
That's what they tell me. But the steel is 3/4 inches thick, and I'm hoping that it's more stable than the 5/8.
Now, is that pretty much for a final cut on the bottom of a bowl, Angelo, or are you actually roughing out with it?
Yes, to both questions. You can rough out with it, but it's intended to give you a clean finish cut on the inside bottom of the bowl.
It's like using a spindle gouge on the walls, but you can go around the corner and no cross the bottom with that.
Well, you can't go too much around the corner. It's like, I don't know if you've seen Stuart Batty demonstrate. He'll go down 2/3 of the way with his 40/40 grind, and then he'll pick up a bottom gouge and go across the bottom. Doesn't go up the sidewalls very well at all.
Yeah.
Well, how is that different from an old style Peter Child long and strong turning gouge?
It's the same thing.
Okay, and the way that's different from a spindle roughing gouge in that it doesn't have a shank that can bend when it catches.
Right. It doesn't have a ground shank. It's got the full rod to hold on to. The problem is because it's 3/4, it doesn't fit into the Jimmy Clues quick release. So I'm waiting for my 3/4 inch diameter nose Thompson handle to use this thing. None of the handles I have, or am I willing to make a handle for it for the 3/4 inch diameter steel.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you, Angelo. That's a pretty sharp thing.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you make with it, Angelo, and your report on the new tool.
Okay, well, I've already made some big bowls with them. They're not sanded or finished out, but I can show them to you maybe next week or the week after. Yeah. But if anybody has in mind that they want to buy one of these tools, you're welcome to give these a try before you buy.
Thank you.
Okay,
I have a 5/8 diameter conventional grind bowl gouge that I use for down in the bottom. And I guess sounds like, Angelo, you have one, and concerned with vibration, you wanted to go heavier.
Yeah, that was the reason for getting the Thompson tool. I wanted it a little bit heavier.
I haven't had any trouble with mine, but I haven't gone into any real deep bowls. But it does do a better job than a bowl gouge. If you have a deep bowl with a wide flat bottom, you get a lot of ripples and ridges with a bowl gouge going across.
That's true.
Bowl gouge will clean it up.
That's true.
Do you your tool rest? I'm assuming it's a curved tool rest to go into the bottom of the bowl, or do you just have a straight tool rest?
I have a couple of different curved tool rests to go into the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a curved one also.
So how much is the overhang that you have to deal with when you're on your tool rest, when you're on the bottom of your bowl?
Well, it might be 1 to 2 inches over the tool rest.
Okay.
But the handle, I found even the 16-inch handles on my glazer gouges are too short.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the tool
Most
gets
of what
swallowed
I've
up by the
done,
bowl.
I can get my tool rest in within a half inch or better. I got pretty good.
I can too, but it depends on the shape of the bowl.
Yeah.
These Hawaiian bowls are recurved at the rim, so that it's actually like a little like a hollow form.
Yeah, you're undercutting there. That's right.
Yeah. So down the side of the bowl, I use an Irish grind on the bowl gouge, go down to the recurve at the bottom, and then across the bottom, I have a big glazer scraper that I can use, or now I have this other weapon of mass destruction.
But to your point, Angelo, is that the handle length is really important because you're going deep and you have to have a longer handle because you're going deep. Is that
that's
a fair
absolutely
statement?
right. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, handle length and weight is going to make a difference.
Yep.
You know, that scares me looking at the edges. You don't want to get anywhere near the side of the bowl. Am I understanding it wrong, or is that right?
Nope, you're 100% right. You can do a little bit of a back cut on the left side of center with that vertical edge, but it's very grabby and you got to be very careful. It's really, once you get around that bottom curve is really where this tool shines.
Would it help you to take, instead of that thing being 90 degrees to the shaft, would you bring it back, say 15 degrees?
You could. Let's see, what do we got here?
It looked like your Mahoney had about that on it.
Yeah, the Mahoney, I did grind it back some because it was perpendicular. The Thompson is ground almost 90 degrees to the flute.
I mean, is there any advantage to grinding it back or disadvantage?
Yeah, you're less likely to catch that corner when you're making a back cut down deep. Because when you're on the flat bottom of the bowl, it's the center and right of center of the cutting edge that's actually cutting. It's not that left side.
Uh-huh. All right. Anybody else? Who's next? Come on, surely somebody else got something very interesting for themselves for this holiday.
I have a question.
Go for it, Jim.
It's probably I'm not very experienced, but somebody tell me, back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, when I got back to turning again, I was buying tools because I thought the tools were what made the cut work. It wasn't my skill.
Me too.
It wasn't my skill. But anyways, I had this scraper that's been, I'll try to hold it up here, been in my rack and I've not pulled it out. What is it intended for the bottom of a bowl or what? You see it's flat on one side, or you see it flat on one side and rounded off on the other. What is this?
Is it round on the flat side? Is there a bevel on the flat side, like a burr?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a straight up cut and then a secondary bevel off.
Turn it the other way, right there. The flat is on the right side as you're using it and holding it, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
I would say it's a box scraper, but that's sort of on the right side.
But
yeah, you wouldn't use it this way because
that's the bottom of the scraper. That's the top of the scraper. Is this a Richard Raffin tool?
Jim, for the inside of a bowl, it's going around the bottom curve of the bowl and up the side.
Is this a Raffin scraper?
Let me look here a second. It's a Henry Taylor.
Okay, so that the cutting edge is that top edge that's flat, the other side, that.
Yep.
You grind the burr on that side. You can use it either on the inside of the bowl or in end grain boxes. That relief on the bottom, if you turn it sideways, that big bevel you see on the bottom, is to give you clearance on small diameters. In other words, if that full thickness of scraper was at your cutting edge, you'd be limited to how small a diameter you could turn with that thing. So that allows you to get into a smaller diameter.
Yeah, it just seemed weird to me that it was swept back on the right side Because if it were for cleaning out bottoms of bowls and stuff, you'd want it swept back on the left side. So I didn't.
Au contraire, mon ami.
What? Put it on the grinder, huh?
The left side of that tool is the cutting edge inside. Whether you're cutting on the inside of a bowl or you're cutting on the inside of a box.
You mean right there?
No, that's the right
Left
side of the tool.
where your finger was.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it is working right. I was looking at the. No, this is right. Okay, I'm getting it. Sorry, I'm a little dense today. Got here late, so. Thank you.
Coffee. Okay.
When I grind my scrapers, that's very similar to what I do. I don't do that grind on the bottom, but when I grind across the front, I do go around a little bit on that right corner just to pull it back a little. But then, of course, like I said, I go down along the left side quite a distance, maybe an 1.5 or 2 inches, in order to get that side scraping inside of a box, or the edge of a side of a bowl. But I don't go down quite around the corner on the right side as far as that gouge bowl scraper is.
I agree with that.
I may try it again. When I started back at turning, I was doing a lot of scraping, and I think I got this to scrape bowl bottom corners, whatever.
What is that, about 3/4 wide?
More like an inch.
Almost. I think it's more like 5/8.
Oh.
But it's about that.
Yeah, that should be a good scraper, about 1/4 inch thick.
Oh yeah, it's maybe 5/16 or not 3/8, but it's a little more than 1/4. Yeah, it seems like a good one.
Yeah, you get a good burr on that. That'll cut pretty well.
Okay, great.
Well, y'all, it's 11 o'clock.
I'd like to jump in here real quickly and say something.
Just a second.
Sure.
John and Doug, for all you're doing, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate hearing that. Let me see. I had some housekeeping I wanted to mention to you. We are now on the Lancaster area Woodturners Zoom, and that means that I will be changing the Zoom address every month. And you'll know what month's Zoom address it is by the password. The password will be the month. This Zoom password is 012021, and we'll be using it all through January. If you have passed an older link along to somebody, it's no longer going to work. You have to pass the current link along so your friends and neighbors can get into this Zoom. Let me see. The other thing I would say is this has been sponsored by Lancaster Area Woodturners, and many of you are members of Lancaster Area Woodturners. It is not necessary to be a member to participate in this weekly Zoom, but we would enjoy having you as a member if you would like to join, and it's $30 a year to belong to this club. And you can do that by sending me a PayPal, or you can send a check to my street address because I'm the club treasurer, and I usually put that in the weekly announcement of these Zooms. I will be doing a regular weekly announcement of the Zooms as we have been done, and when there is a bunch of follow-up information, I will be doing a follow-up weekly announcement. I am not going to do that this week because there were so many brand names gone by. You're just going to have to watch it again on the Lancaster Area Woodturners website, where this Zoom will be posted tomorrow.
Could I also add, John, that I'd like to thank all of you who have joined Lancaster Area Woodturners who are not local to Lancaster, because that's a direct indication of your support of this Zoom call. So I really appreciate you guys showing up and continuing to join us.
We appreciate that a lot.
Thanks, Phil. And I saw there was quite a list of new members on the last time I looked on the site. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining up.
Yep.
John, thanks for your good work, pal.
Hey, John, yes, I appreciate it too. I have a request. I forgot today. I'm wondering, is it a big problem for you to send out the link like 9:30 or 9:45, right before, so it's in the top of our email piles?
John, well, that's the reason I send it on Wednesday, to have it near the top. And now if I send it again on Thursday, I'm going to get complaints from people who say, too damn many coffee hour emails. So what do you want?
Jim.
What I do is put a flag on whenever I get it.
Yeah. Jim, I'll send it to you myself.
Thank you. But for me, I went back looking and it took me a couple minutes to root through all my email to find it. So
Just search.
Search for John Kelsey.
You'll find
That's
it.
how I often find it.
Yeah, I thought I
whenever I get it.
If you like, I can send it on Thursday morning. I just don't want to burden you with more emails than you want to receive.
Oh, I'm out. Goodbye, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Talk
Year.
to you all later.
Thank you, one and all. Happy New Year.
Thank you, everybody, for
Happy New Year,
participating. It's
everybody.
been a great year and a terrible time.
Thank you for a great year, John.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John and Doug.
2021.
I hope we have a much better year next year in every way,
Yeah.
but we're not going to stop doing this.
I'll second that.
Okay, end recording, end meeting for all. See you next week.